Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Wednesday, March the 12th, 2025. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody this Saturday, March the 15th, at 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is 7 p.m. Central time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time. We will be doing a live YouTube stream. Comment corner will be live. I will be reading your comments live. We'll be talking and having a great time discussing where we are with General Hospital, what's happened over the last month, what we like and what we don't like. So I will see as many of you as possible on Saturday. Please, if you are not subscribed to this YouTube channel, subscribe now so you will receive a notification of the live event. So, with that being said, let's dive right into it. Today, uh, the article came out. Curtis ended up going to the Invader and given that scoop. Now, remember, Nina owns the Invader, right? Nina owns the Invader. So Curtis can pretend to have his hands clean with that. Now, what is so interesting, remember Nina did not want to publish the video or even have an article done on Drew sleeping with her daughter Willow, which, okay, I can understand. That's my daughter. Okay, right? But she says, if it's done on the Invader, it'll come back on me. Well, this was done in the Invader, but I guess because Willow's not mentioned, it's only Drew and his dastardly deeds. These are things he's done. That article portrayed him as, of course, the what do they call him? Cutman, cutthroat, cutthroat Quartermain, something like that. Congressman Cutthroat Quartermain. And they made Tracy seem like such a sweet old lady, donating to charities and doing such good deeds. So Drew's office is getting a bunch of negative phone calls. Okay, that he ain't there because he don't care. Only thing he cared about was he was making sure he brought Willow some flowers and then tried to hang around there the rest of the day because Congress ain't in session for a Quartermain, right? So we have Carly. She comes to talk to Willow, saying that, she's worried about her grandchildren, Wiley. Wiley is old enough for children to, be talking about, their parents could be talking about the article. And Willow has not moved in with Drew yet. And she said, listen, Willow, I want you to truly think about this. How close do you want to have Wiley and Amelia wrapped up around Drew? It's not good. And so Willow's like, well, she, everybody knows the Invader publishes nothing but lies. And Carly looked at her. She goes, Willow, everything they're saying about Drew in there, he's done and he is doing right now. And then Drew comes from around the way. Give it up, Carly. Now, mind you, Carly's not yelling at Willow. Willow's at work. But Drew's got his voice nice and octane 8, right? Octave 8. Give it up, Carly. You always want to say something negative about me. You this, you that. You won't be happy until blah, blah, blah. And Carly says, no, Here's the deal. I came here to talk to Willow about my grandkids, which has nothing to do with you. Now, I will be happy to have a conversation, Drew, with you, me and you, just not here, because I'm here to talk to Willow. And before Drew got there, Willow told Carly, well, they painted Tracy like she's such an innocent, old lady. She goes, Tracy is the one who kidnapped my children. And Carly said, And Tracy was wrong for that. She was definitely wrong for that. And I wasn't in agreement with what Tracy was doing. And Willow's like, well, yeah, yeah. She goes, but Drew, on the other hand, that's what she's saying. He is doing these things, doing them, Willow. Right? And that's when Drew chimes in. And so Carly looks at him because then Willow does turn and she says something about Drew's only doing what he's doing because the Quartermain's this, and that, spouting off something Drew said. So Carly just looked at her and said, you know what? She looked at Drew, she looked at Willow. She says, this is going to be a complete waste of my time. And she turned and walked away. And I thought, good for you, Carly. Now she goes up to Nina's office. Now Nina was talking to this new guy that they hired. He's a natural nature person, documents nature, right? And he's going to do a piece on a particular part of the world he's going, and he's going to do it for Crimson so that his pictures will be featured. His whole journey will be featured in Crimson because they're starting a whole new kind of like lifestyle piece, for the magazine, different segments. He was handsome, but he definitely looked like he was a plastic. Well, no, I ain't gonna say that. I was gonna say a plastic Ken doll, but I said it anyway, right? Plastic Ken doll. I was like, goodness, is he afraid to? Well, anyway, okay. So, so anyway, she was flirting with him, and Ava comes in, and he had done a piece, so some of his work was featured at her gallery at an event, on a smaller scale. And so Ava just made herself at home. And he says, well, oh, excuse me, y'all, it's late out here. I'm doing these things late now. He says, well, I have to go because he was getting actually ready for a photo shoot. So Ava actually had come to ask Nina to lend her some money. And she hem-hawed around. I hate to do this and I wouldn't have to, blah, 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 blah. And finally Nina says, Ava, of course I'll lend you some money. Of course. I'm wondering what took you so long to come to me. And so Nina says, as a matter of fact, it's not going to be a loan. I'm going to give you the money. And Ava says, no, oh, no, it's going to be a loan. And Rick is going to have the terms, the repayment, and installments. It's all going to be in writing. She goes, that is not necessary, Ava. Ava says, Nina, money can break up a friendship. And I don't want money in the middle of our friendship. Oh, no, it's going to be done that way. She goes, because I lost your friendship once, and I'm not going to do anything else that could put a strain on our friendship. Because the guy said, hey, how do you two know each other? And Ava looked at Nina and she goes, we're best of friends. And Nina says, yes, we are. And they are. Look, they're the only friends to each other. They're the only one each other have. So I'm happy Nina forgave Ava. So anyway, Carly comes barging in. Nina, we need to talk. And so Nina says, well, Carly, okay, look, I'm sure it's important, but right now Ava and I are discussing an important matter. Carly says, this can't wait. And so Ava says, you know what, Nina, look, we'll talk later. Okay. Because she's thinking, girl, you already said you lending me money. So we'll talk later. I'll catch you later. Right. So Carly comes in and she goes, okay, Carly, what's going on? She goes, it's Drew. And Nina looks at her. She goes, he is getting worse. And he's got to be stopped. And so she says, and she goes, Willow is going right along with them. And she goes, well, you can't blame Willow. She goes, oh, I'm not blaming Willow. I'm blaming Drew. All of this that's happening is falling all on Drew's doorstep here. So she goes, we've got to get in that house. And so I think or Nina said, what's the plan? Or somebody said, do you have a plan? And they said, we got to get in that house to find evidence. And so Nina says, what if we don't find any evidence in the house, Carly? She said, then we put it there. Okay. Now that's the Carly I know. That's the Carly I love. There we go. We will put it there. But they would have to figure out what could they plant there that couldn't be traced back to them that would make Willow want to leave Drew. And I'm sorry, everybody. They don't need to get in the house. They don't need to plant any evidence. They don't need to do all of that. All Nina has to do. Nina, sit Carly down and tell her you were sleeping with Drew. See, you're so busy not wanting to be the one to tell Willow. Don't tell Willow. Let Carly tell Willow. Mm-hmm. Because Willow's going to want to shoot the messenger. Okay? Let her want to shoot Carly. Period. Because she'll say, no, I don't believe it. Because Nina would have told me. And she would say, no, Nina wouldn't have told you. Because Nina wouldn't say anything to you that could jeopardize your relationship that's building. But Drew used both of you all, both of y'all. See, and throw a little spin in it, throw some extra stuff in there. Yeah. That would send Willow packing. But what else will send Willow packing? We ain't got to look around the house. The first thing I'm going to do is look in the safe. Ava has the safe combination, and I'm telling you, in there is going to be proof that Jason was in his house during that time because it's going to be time-stamped. That is going to prove to Willow that Drew is a liar. Even to the point he went and made a formal written statement, which could get him recalled. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That Jason wasn't there, wanting his brother to go up on charges for killing Cyrus Renault. That Willow would have a hard time stomaching. Now, Drew would put his own spin on it, and he would try to like brainwash her. But it's stuff like that hangs with Willow. That would be the beginning of the end once she found just that one lie, the lie about Jason. Because the way Willow thinks is, what else has he lied to me about? Mm-hmm. Yeah, check. Now, what was good to me was the interaction between Sasha and Willow. I love the hostility. Now, Willow comes in, Sasha's waiting for her appointment, and she walks in the room, hello, miss, and she looks up and sees it's Sasha. Sasha looks at her, and she goes, oh, you're my next patient. Right? Well, here's the deal. Let's get another nurse on rotation here. Or actually, the only thing you're going to do is take my vitals for my doctor. Okay? So, yeah, I may let you do that. I might. So Willow says, there's a gown over there, and I'll come back in a minute. And she turns to walk out, and Sasha says, Willow, obviously, there's something you want to say to me, right? And Willow turns around, and she looks at her, and she says, yeah, if you really want to know. She goes, you're such a hypocrite. And Sasha looked at her. She goes, I'm a hypocrite. She says, you're the one sleeping with Michael's uncle under his nose. You're the hypocrite. She goes, oh, no, you want to judge me when you are having a baby with Michael's uncle. So Sasha looked at her. She says, first of all, Michael and I was a long time ago. What the writers didn't write, they should have had Sasha throw in Willow's face. Since that time, I was happily married. I've gotten pregnant. Actually, Sasha got pregnant before she got married, but anyway, you know, and I had a baby. And I had two devastating losses. So Michael and I, nowhere near the same, period. That relationship was gone. Right? So she goes, so you are the hypocrite because you were married to Michael. And they kind of leave. Oh, and then Willow had the nerve to say, but what did she say? I wrote that down. She says, but then again, um, my mom was not a con artist like your mom. Like this is where she goes, because you wanted Jason's money. And Sasha looked at her. She goes, you don't know a thing about me. She says, but let's talk about that. You went from one quartermain with money to another one. So who's after money now? She says, and you don't know anything about my mother. She should have said, however, let's talk about mama number one, the one that raised you. She was giving young girls as food to be sexually assaulted by a cult leader. Let's talk about our mothers. Your mama, your first mama. She ran in front of my car and I hit her because she ran in front of my car on a dark road after she tried to murder Alexis and Carly. See, Willow, you want to talk about mamas? I'd rather have a con artist mama than that one, right? Oh, but you're going to say she wasn't my biological mama, so that's not in the genes, right? Okay, let's talk about your biological mama. She drugged and cut little Avery Corinthos out of Ava Jerome's belly and stole the baby and left Ava to bleed out to die. See, if you're gonna get vicious, Willow, you're gonna throw in it, but then again, with a con artist mother, oh, I would have gone for the juggler with that. And there would have been nothing Willow could have said. Nothing. There we go. Because Nina, she's done some things. Okay, Nina has done some things. So we left those two. But I mean, I love the fact that every time they see each other, they are sniping at each other. So Alexis goes to see Curtis because she and Christina were talking that, oh, Scout might find this out. Well, you know what? When's the last time y'all saw Scout? Seriously. This is what her father is doing, and it's going to get reported. He's a public figure. She tells Curtis, I'm here to ask you a favor. The invader, whatever the name of the editor-in-chief now of the Invader, he won't put a retraction on the article. So what I'm here to ask you to do is for Aurora to offer to write up a humanistic series and offer a group of stories that are favorable towards Drew and counteract what the Invader has done. Curtis says, why would I do that? Drew is abusing his power, and Drew is doing those things. So why would I try to make the man look good? I'm asking you for the sake of my granddaughter. Well, okay. So Curtis looked at her and says, old friend, respectfully, I have to decline that. And don't you think, Alexis, with your request and what you're doing, you actually are enabling Drew's bad behavior versus actually addressing it with him, right? Because she goes, well, the article made it like Tracy is, Tracy's is an old, she was an elderly woman who, was just being picked on. I was there, and Tracy was holding her own. And Drew said, Curtis said, good for Tracy. But everything in the article that they said Drew's done, Drew's done. Period. So yeah, Alexis didn't get her way. Good, Curtis. But Porsha had called Drew to come to her office earlier that afternoon because Rick met with her and says, she goes, okay, have you done some research? She goes, that I have. And she goes, okay, now, is there any way for me to get out, to be able to get out of this with my job intact and my marriage intact? And Rick says, it's going to be difficult. She says, why? He said, because what you did, Dr. Robinson, you could be looking at jail time. And she looked at him. She goes, what? Why? He goes, by you tampering and changing Heather's test results. You see, there was an open case involved where she was petitioning for her freedom. And what you did, you sent a woman who should have been freed back to prison. He says, and she wasn't freed based because you came forward. She was freed because I ordered new tests. I kept pursuing this. So it doesn't look good on you. It doesn't look good on you. But she did go back to prison. And you left her there, chick. There you go. And I thought, oh, ouch, Porsha. You did do that. Oh. And so she goes, so what do I do? He says, look, you need to tell Curtis. You really do. She goes, but isn't it illegal for Drew to be blackmailing me? And he goes, oh, yeah. But you exposing Drew exposes you, which still opens up the wheels turning. He goes, so at least, he goes, Curtis might forgive you. You might be able to save your husband and your marriage. But if you go along with Drew, it just buys you more time. He said, because unfortunately, Drew has you in a rock and a hard place. So she's like, oh. So Drew, of course, after he rains down on Carly for Willow, comes in the office. And he goes, so much for you brokering peace between me and Curtis. And she looks at him, she goes, what are you talking about? And he looked at her. He goes, you know Curtis is behind the article that the invader wrote. And Porsha looked up at him. She goes, no, no, I don't know that. Because Curtis has a media company, huge one, Aurora. He could have put it out via Aurora's media. Curtis is not over Invader. So no, 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 I don't think that's Curtis. And Drew looked at her, you know, and so he goes, well, you know what? Then you need to convince Curtis to run a series on me. What a good family man I am. A happy, you. Oh, I almost said a curse word, y'all. Don't rewind that and play it back slowly. Don't do that. Woo! Yikes, daily recap lady. You're a home wrecker, Drew. So Curtis is supposed to write a piece on what a good family man you are. Oh my goodness, you don't respect family. And she goes, Drew, if I try to convince Curtis to do that, Curtis is on to you. You know, Curtis is on to you. She says, as a matter of fact, Drew, you're blackmailing me. And if I tell Curtis that you are blackmailing his wife, Curtis is going to go on a whole nother level. Do you really want that? And Drew's looking at her like, you think you're going to get out of this? And he goes, and I tell you what, you're going to do a press conference with me. You'll be standing by my side when I talk about the new children's athletic program that I'm installing here at GH. And you're going to talk about how much good it's going to do. And she says, I don't see how me doing a press conference for you, with you, it's going to get you what you want. He says, it's going to force Curtis because you're going to be in the press conference with me. It's going to force him to cover it in Aurora. And Curtis comes walking through the door at that time. And he walks in and he looks at Drew. He glances at Porsha and he looks at Drew and he says, what's going on here? And Drew just like, you know how Drew gets when he looks, leans back a bit, looks straight up into nothing because he's thinking about, okay, how am I going to come back? How am I going to come at Curtis? He's thinking of his response. And Porscha's just looking. So we'll see what happens with that tomorrow. Now, minor story. Christina goes out and buys these hard to get ballet tickets for this play that little Avery really wanted to see, and she was going to make a night of it, just the two sisters, night on the town, blah, blah, blah. Now, when have you ever heard Christina doing that anyway for Avery? She hasn't. But the tickets that she got for fell on Ava's day. Now, Rick, see, this is where Ava, to me, needs to check him, or Christina should have checked him before you let Rick goad her, because the only thing Rick does is goad her. He goes, oh, Christina, have you talked to Sonny? Did Sonny tell you about Avery? And Christina stopped and says, what about Avery? See, she should have said, you know what, Rick? You don't talk to me, because what happened is when the elevator opened, Rick was on the elevator and Christina was getting ready to get in it. And she saw he was there. She goes, oh, no. Oh, Lord. And she turns and she's walking away. And he gets out, Christina. And that's when he says it. She fell for it. He can bait, hook, line, and sink that girl every time. What are you talking about? He didn't tell you that your plans with Avery are not going to happen? She says, why would you say that? It's a beautiful night. And those tickets, I went through a lot to get them. And Avery is really looking forward to going. He says, oh, well, they're on Ava's night. Okay, so Ava can just switch a night with with my dad. It's one night. He goes, yeah, but you know what? In the custody agreement, the routine is new and it's good for it. Avery needs to get used to the routine. And he goes, so the next time you want to plan something with Avery, check the calendar first. And he walks away. And she's so of course she's pissed. Where do you think Christina goes? She goes to Ava's apartment. Ava comes around the corner and there's Christina at her door. Isn't that deja vu, everybody? Hot hair Christina. She goes, you just have to mess up everything. Or she says something lunging at Ava, not lunging physically, but verbally. And Ava says, what are you talking about, Christina? You can change your visitation day. Now, see, that would be between Sunny and Ava, not Christina and Ava. See, Christina always want to jump to something, put herself in those situations. And Ava said, no, that's my night, Christina. Well, you can change it. She goes, no, this custody arrangement is new. And your father and I have decided on the schedule. And Avery needs to get into the routine of when it's time to go with her father, the routine, which, okay, I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that at all. Because Christina did not check with anybody before she did what she did. That's on you, chick. She goes, I went through a lot to get those tickets. Avery is looking forward to going. For you to punish her and upset her like this is cruel. And Ava said, oh, she's not being punished. You see, the producer of the ballet is a friend of mine. I picked up the phone, made a call. We are front row center to the ballet. Avery and I are going to have a great time. Christina looked at her. She goes, you are vindictive or something. She's, she wasn't lunging for Ava, but she was stepping closer because you know how Christina gets. Rick comes around the corner. Careful, Christina. You see, it's this temper of yours that got you in a similar situation. And Ava looks at her, and Christina's like, something like, you're going to run in it, whatever she says, and she stomps off. Now, she could go crying out to her daddy, and Sonny's going to say, that is Ava's day. Christina, I wish you would have come to me. How much were the tickets? I'll give you your money back. But any future events have to be done on my time. So now we have Lucky. Lucky was discharged. Liz is bringing him home. And those two are trying to get busy so bad. They are kissing, trying to make out on the couch. Carly comes knocking on the door, bringing a big basket, treats in it. And thanks them for, helping the police bring Cyrus, know that it was Cyrus, right? Discovering it was Cyrus. She doesn't stay long. She leaves. Ooh, they get busy some more. Aiden comes through the front door. And every time they hear like Carly knocking, they have to stop. She gets up, but they can hear Aiden's keys. She fixes herself, and is standing when he comes in and he goes, "Hey." And he's talking, but he wasn't going to be there long. He's spending the night at a friend's house. So as soon as he leaves, and he goes, "You know what? I'm happy to see you guys together. It's nice to see you, you here." Because you said Lucky's spending the night because the doctor says he has to have 24-hour care for tonight. So Aiden leaves, and yeah, now they still see alone at last. They're like, alone at last. So they're Lucky says, "Where were we?" So they start kissing some more. Another knock on the door. They're like, "We can't win for losing." It's Laura coming to check on her boy. Got released. And she goes, "You know what? Why don't we all have dinner tonight together?" Lucky looks at his mother. He goes, "Sounds great, Mom." Yeah. And he looks at Elizabeth. She looks at him like, "Yeah." Laura's looking at Elizabeth. Yeah. That was funny. So their plans are ruined. I just love their chemistry. I really, really do love their chemistry. And that's it, everybody. Yeah, that's it. Great. It was an interesting episode. You could tell February sweeps is over, but it was an interesting episode. We need Carly and Nina to kick it into first gear. Now, we have the live event on Saturday. I'm not going to do comment corner until next Monday. But keep commenting on everybody else's comment. And I will see you all Saturday, March the 15th. Saturday, March 15th, 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is 7 p.m. Central time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time.